May profits be upon you. How are my peoples doing? How are my peoples? Hey, look, I want to give some shout outs. Shout out to my boy Adiel. Hey, man, I appreciate that, man. Shukran jazilan. I appreciate the love that you show. Malik, Mr. Patel, I really appreciate your support, man. You've been there for a long time, man. Thanks, man. Saeed, thank you for the encouragement, man. And Hassan, I got my hands clasped together for you, man. I appreciate that. I'm shaking my hands at you, Hassan. And who else? Doggone it. I'm thinking, man. Dave, Big Dave. Thank you, Big Dave, for always being there. Nadeem, shukran. I appreciate it, Nadeem. Thank you for the encouragement. And shout out to my boy, Drunken Monkey, and my man Glover. Those are my partners over there at Lions Den FX. I'm always going to big up them. And for those that continue to watch my videos and continue to give me comments and feedback, I really appreciate the feedback more than I let on. All right, but I'm not going to forget my girls, Leslie and Nani over there at TGFX. I'm always looking out for your posts. And those great trades y'all put on. Y'all are running hot, looking good. Keep it up. And now we are going to get to business. Okay. All right. Thank you. And I want to again say, I need that feedback. I need the feedback on the video and the contents. All right. I need to know what your thoughts are. If you got better ideas, share them. Or if you think I'm wrong, I have no problem with discussing it with you. We're exchanging ideas here. All right. I'm trying to share what I know, what I've learned over the course of a few years of trading. And, I don't claim to be the best, of course. I'm just hoping that you get some benefit out of my content, right? All right. First thing we're going to look at is the calendar. Let's get to business, shall we? We're going to take a look at this calendar for next week, right? Sunday through Saturday, and we have a CPI data for New Zealand dollar. We have an important RBA, Royal Bank of Australia. They're going to have their meeting, their interest rate meeting. They just raised rates this past week, and we want to see what's going on with that. And we have Tuesday. We have some red folders. All right. Nothing I'm going to be stuck on, just stuff to be aware of. We have a Chinese interest rate decision, of course. We have CPI data coming out for the pound and the CAD on Wednesday, and BOJ, very important yen interest rate decision on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure they're not going to change their policy, but with the US dollar, and FOMC coming up in 2 weeks, not next week, but the following week, we may see some strengthening in the yen. So that's going to be the next 2 weeks is going to be very interesting because of the movement of the strongest currency, US dollar, and we might be seeing the retracement I was looking for last week, but that we might see it over the next 2 weeks. Going into FOMC. Please remember I just said that, and put it on your calendars, put some notes on your charts so you don't forget. We have ECB interest rate decision on Thursday. That's going to be a big one too, all right? Especially in light of the FOMC coming up with the US dollar, all right? So we might be seeing some pullback there. It's not my favorite, euro is not my favorite pair to trade this next week because we might see some sideways action because of the dynamic with US dollar. So we don't want to get caught in a market that may go up and down in a sideways action, but we'll see. We'll take a look at the individual currencies in a minute. And then we have the red folder items on Friday. So that will be the calendar. You want to make a note of those things, right? All right, now we're going to go to the RT money meter. The RT money meter tracks the rate of change of each individual currency from a futures perspective, and we track it over the period of 15 weeks. All right, 15 weeks, about 3 months, and I update it every week, or on the end of trading day, Friday, because the rates don't change over the weekend, right? And I chose to do it yesterday. All right, and what are the notable things? US dollar remains the strongest, and it gained a little strength over the last week from 8.09 to 9.41, right? The Canadian dollar is an interesting one. It remains, it's weak as far as individually, but when compared with other currencies, it's one of the stronger ones. I hope you understand. It's not as weak, all right? And you can pit them against something like the yen or the New Zealand dollar or the Aussie, okay, or the pound. Now, but you see, it's kind of went sideways. The Swiss franc, it's been sliding, right? All right, and this is an interesting currency, minus 273 to minus 460 to 5. Relative neutrality here, kind of moving sideways, kind of the same with CAD, but not as much, a little more strength with the CAD. But the Swiss is not one that is on my favorites list to trade this week because it's kind of on the neutral side. Euro though, all right, Euro's gone from last week of minus 722 to minus 844. This is trending in the wrong direction, right? But again, we have the interest rate decision coming up this week on Thursday. So we may see a pullback. We may see this. We might see this number, the number that it declined from last week to this week. We might see that the opposite this next week coming, especially with FOMC coming against the USD. All right, pound is the same deal, the exact same deal, minus 863 to minus 932. Yeah, it trended down, but in light of FOMC coming for USD, we might see that start to tick up next week. All right, the Aussie dollar was very interesting. All right, we're going to go into that, but it went from minus 898 to minus 947. We saw a weakening here, but again, we might see this thing start to reverse. They just had an interest rate decision, and we have RBA, Royal Bank of Australia minutes getting ready to come up, and we're going to see what the votes were, what they were saying on the board. All right, yen actually weakened from minus 10.06 to minus 11.17. All right, and actually weakened, switching places again with the New Zealand dollar, which is kind of on the same track as the Aussie, insofar as we may see a strengthening as it went from minus 11.19 to minus 10.80. We'll go over each one right now. We want to see, just because the numbers are, you can say, oh, the Canadian dollar got weaker, doesn't mean, if we look on the chart, is it technically set to turn around? Is it as weak as these are now? You want to see what the relative strength is, right, to other players, to the other currencies. Now let's take a look at the Dixie. All right, we're seeing the US dollar pitted against a basket of other currencies, so we can use this as this is the US dollar index futures. So I mean, this is what we're going to use. This is the futures, not the actual Dixie, but this is the futures. All right, but people call this the Dixie anyway. So all right, last week we saw the CPI data. Oh, it was horrible, right? So we see a a weakening here. This may be the start of the US dollar currency starting to pull back. We may see a pullback now. First place I'm going to be looking at is here. All right, we're going to see this. We're going to probably see a pullback. Why? Because guys, the big boys that took longs here are now taking profit. They took profit, and we're going to start to see some pullback, right? And why would they be pulling back? You know, you have to understand that FOMC is coming. All right, we have CPI data that is coming. Not CPI. Excuse me. Which one is it? I got it right here. GDP. All right. If that number hits another consecutive red number, all right. If we are again hitting that negative number again, that'll signal a technical recession. All right, and we're going to see the interest rates and all that kind of stuff. They're going to try and stave it off. They're going to try and do all kind of things to adjust. And you could see it'll be a risk off situation. And with risk off situation, you're going to see the US dollar start to move up. All right. But they're going to position, they're going to get in position, get this, the currency in position for the big boys to step in so they can get the discount price to take this up again. All right. So I am looking towards a pullback. I am looking towards a pullback more so this week than last week. All right. And we may come into this fair value gap area. And I'm looking for a price to quite possibly move on down to 106 area here. But I'm going to be looking at this area here. I'm going to see if we get a hold here, because this is from a supply and demand perspective. You know, I would be looking at this rally base rally. I'm looking at this to see if price will hold. All right. If it doesn't, then I think we're coming down here. And this is a fair value gap here. That's why I keep circling it. And we have this level to contend with. So that'll be around the 106 area. So I'm looking, that's what I'm looking for. Now, I have an area up here. This is the next key area of support, I mean, of resistance, right? But could we see price do one of these numbers and then come down? I'm not sure if the fundamentals are in place for that right now. All right, especially with the FOMC looming. All right, so be careful with US dollar trades this week. There are some that I'm going to take for sure, putting it against the weakest of the currencies, but you don't want to get caught in a sideways market either. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to the Canadian dollar futures. All right, you can see technically that this is a bearish market. All right, and one of the reasons why it's bearish, because it broke a key area of structure here, and we did get a close beyond that level. Now, we just had interest rate decision on the 13th for the Canadian dollar. All right, that was this bullish candle here. The next day, we've seen this bearishness coming. Boom, right? Now, what do I always look for? I look for a close below structure when where I look at it as price is demonstrating, the market is demonstrating that it wants to go down further. All right, with a close, not just a wick and wick down and then up. All right, that is a more convincing thing. But the problem is we have this big rejection here, and that's not off-putting for me. It checks the box that for me that price wants to go lower. I'm going to be watching this area here. All right, this area right here. That level is this 7680, for the 7680 region. I'm looking because this is a zone of supply, and I want to see if price will indeed start to round over here. All right. So that's what I'm looking for. We do have the on the 20th an inflation rate for the CAD. That'll be very important to see, and that'll probably help to motivate their interest rate decision in a certain direction. You understand? So we're going to see if this holds here, but this is not my favorite market to trade this week because I want to see what price is going to do at this level right now. All right. After a break of structure, I expect a pullback. All right. You got to expect a pullback, at least around 50% or better. And that brings us into premium prices to where we can see shorts. So we're at that point right now. All right. And I want to see if we're going to get that rounding over. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on. Swiss franc. All right. Swiss franc. There's no news coming up. No news of consequence coming up. But I want you to understand that we were bearish. And as price started to give this corrective structure, and we beat that corrective structure, right, with a break of structure here. All right. When you have a break of structure to the upside, you got to say to yourself, hey man, this thing is heading up. All right. And you got to be bullish from this point. Yes, we pulled back, but until it breaks this low, I'm not thinking of this market as being bearish. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low. This could be the higher low. We have a bullish candle. All right. I'm looking for price to continue high. Not my favorite currency to trade this month. I mean, this coming week. However, I am still technically bullish on this week on this currency. I hope that's understandable. I had this line here because this is a zone of demand, and I'm looking for price to take that high out. You know, that doesn't mean it's going to happen next week, but I'm looking for price to continue higher. Does that make sense? All right. So Swiss strength plays for the upcoming week. All right. Let's go to the euro, the big dog. What do we got coming up? We have on the 19th, we have the CPI data, and on the 21st, we have an interest rate decision. That's going to be very important, folks. All right. Now, and we also have FOMC and GDP for US dollar. That's going to play a big part in a pullback for that I think is coming for the euro pairs, the euro currency. All right. What am I thinking here? All right. Am I overall bearish in this market? You can't help but be overall bearish, right? All right. And we had a key level broken right here. And we haven't had the pullback yet. I'm expecting that pullback to come. All right. Look at the price action down here. All right. And you can see that we had a lovely rejection here. Right. And usually if this rejection is within a trend, within a trend, you know, I'm thinking that this wick is going to get filled, right? But and it will get filled at some point. But this isn't that. This is at the end of a drop, like a rally. If you see the opposite at the like here, when you see it at the end of a rally, you're thinking, price is probably going to continue down bearish from here. All right. That's what I was thinking. That's what I'm thinking here. You see how we have the bullish candle close on Friday. All right. I'm thinking price is going to continue higher. The first areas that I'm going to look at, just this is the opposite of the Dixie now, the opposite of the Dixie or the US dollar index. I'm looking at this area first. If price breaks this high, price breaks that high here. And that high is at, I'm using my crosshairs right now. 02, 440. All right. If price breaks that high, then I know we're coming up here. Oh, goodness. We're coming up here to fill this fair value gap to get a pullback from this last impulse. And I told you before, I look for a 50% or better pullback. That would put us right at 618. This is exactly where I would be looking for a pullback if price makes it past this area. All right. There's a fair value gap to fill. There's a zone to mitigate, a supply zone to mitigate. And we have 2 weeks, about, well, a little less than 2 weeks to before FOMC. We have an interest rate decision that is surely going to affect the euro on its own. So yeah, I am looking for this to pull back. I'm looking for this this high to be used as liquidity going into this weak. I think it's a weak, pretty weak zone of supply, but we'll see how weak it is when price gets here. All right. I like the fact, I like the way price left here. So maybe we might get some sideways action up there. Again, this is not my favorite pair to play because it would be counter trend kind of plays here. All right, but there may be some situations, some scenarios there where I'm going to take it. I would take a long trade with another pair. We'll see, you know, when we look at the individual pairs. All right, the next one will be the pound. Pound is a similar situation, but you see that red star. I'm looking for shorts. This is going to be one of my favorite currencies to short for the week. All right, you can see that we have taken out these lows, and I love to see that, you know, where it stair steps down, gives us clear technical directional bias. Okay, so we did have a little bit of a pullback here. All right, we did not pull back up here though. All right, why is that important? Because this would be to mitigate a zone of supply. All right, and this move here created its own zone. All right, but I think this will be, it's not the strongest zone in my opinion. That looks like an inducement point, or where I would look for price to take out this high. If we see a similar, we see this a similar structure on euro, right? It's very similar, where we have a liquidity point that price could take out into a zone of supply, but I don't think this is a strong zone. I like this zone up here, and if price does use FOMC looming and whatnot, and it makes its way up here, I'm looking for a price to round over. Right, I'll look here first. Make this clear. All right, I'm looking here first. All right, I'm gonna see what that looks like on the lowest time frames, because I believe we're going to take this out for liquidity, and maybe we'll come here because the GBP is much weaker than the euro, and I love the technical look here. I love that technical look of weakness, and it makes me feel good to take a short here. We don't have a rallying bullish close like we did on the euro. All right, so we may just see price just continue weak from here next week. So I'm looking at this pair to trade, one of my favorites. Right now, let's move on to Aussie dollar. The Aussie dollar, excuse me, is we had an interest rate decision on the 5th. All right, and why did I say that so loud? I don't know. I get a little excited here. All right, we had this interest. This was the interest rate decision on the 5th. A day passed where we dojied out, right? Then we moved up and then took out those lows. All right, now that PA is telling me we're going to continue bearish. I'm overall bearish in this market. All right, as you can see, this is price has been moving down, not the smoothest price action in the world. because it went bearish, I'm bullish, all right, breaking structure. And then we started being bearish again, dropped, came back up, gave equal highs, swept for liquidity, and then came down, right? Yeah, I'm bearish in this market with this break of structure here, all right? But I'm going to be looking just like with the previous pair with a pound. I'm looking for price to quite possibly pull up, all right, and start maybe a retracement, all right, during this period between now and the FOMC, all right. They had an interest rate decision on the 5th, right? And then they're going to have RBA meetings. The Royal Bank of Australia is going to have meetings this coming week, all right? Here's where I find concern. You see all this price action here? It may look choppy, chopping its way, grinding its way down, but the price action itself is efficient. That means it didn't leave any fair value gaps, no imbalances along the way down, all right? Each imbalance was filled as it chopped down, all right? I'm always looking at the previous fair value gaps, the gaps that were left behind where price wasn't efficient. So I'm looking up here in this area, all right? There's a gap here, all right? But I'm looking at the area above this that price may find itself going up to during the next 2 weeks. And then when FOMC comes, we get the big slap down because there's going to be what do you call it? You know, a flight to safe havens and risk off. The sentiment will be risk off. Can I see price coming back to another zone here? Quite possibly. All right. I'm going to look. I'm not so interested in taking longs with, longing with the Aussie dollar, but I will look at intraday trades, and you best to look for my updates, because I'll post the trades as I look for intraday opportunities. Okay, but this kind of configuration here looks like it may want to reverse, and it looks like the first place again I'm going to look at is this area here, and to see if price rounds over. I'll look for 15-minute confirmations, and but I think we're going to take, I suspect we're going to take this out. But you see this area here, this is a good area to look for, that round over if it's going to happen. All right, we break this area. If we break this area, I will have permission. All right, we break this high, I will have permission to take longs from the demand area that price leaves behind, and take it on up here. All right, we'll see. All right, let's look at the yen. All right, the yen, doggone it, man, yen is supposed to be last. Let me move this down. All right, let's look at the New Zealand dollar first. All right, New Zealand dollar, we just had an interest rate decision. Why is that writing? Okay, we just had an interest rate decision on the 12th, right? And we can see the 12th was here. All right, we started to see some strength kind of creep in. We had the sellers push hard again, and then we got a little rally going. All right, Friday closed bullishly. All right, I'm thinking that price is going to do pretty similar to Aussie and start to trail up. You see the efficient movement of price here. We do have a little bit of a price gap here, though. Look at that. All right, so price could very well trade up into here, and we may see price do one of these numbers. I'll be looking at this area and look for a price to round over, but I'm overall bearish in the New Zealand dollar, and that's where I'm going to remain. I'm going to be looking to take trades against this. Okay, And with the yen, again, the weakest, very bearish, got an interest rate decision coming along. I don't think the Bank of Japan's policy will change. They will keep this thing devalued because they have good reason to do so. And it worked for their country. So we're still trading under this. If I can get to it. Nope, I can't. Can I? Can I? Nope. All right. We're still trading under this pivotal structure point. All right. This was a 2002 low. All right. That was a major breakout low there. All right. And, we taken out all of these and you see it's been dropping hard. I don't think we're going to, and you see the momentum. Look at that. That's a 2 week old. No, it's not 2 weeks. That's 1 week. Last week's candle. Very bearish, lots of momentum to the downside. Why am I thinking that it's going to turn around? I'm not thinking that. Okay. All right. If it does pull back, if it does any pullback, come on, man. Any pullback, I would see as just an opportunity to get further shorts in. We may see a pullback to this zone here because it's at a structural point where I think we could see some rounding over. But I'm looking for more bearishness, and this is one of my favorite currencies to take for shorts this week. I don't know why I don't have a star here. This one deserves a star because this is going to be on my docket. Okay. All right. That's it. All right. I hope you got what you needed to get out of this. All right. I'm going to be looking at these my favorites that you saw starred, and I'm going to be putting out some videos of my favorite pairs. I already put out a pound USD and a euro USD. I'm going to leave those two on your screen right now. Check those out. But I'm going to be putting out my favorite pairs. You'll hear me say this is one of the ones I'm definitely looking at. Be careful with your USD pairs this week. All right. Because we might see some pullback and some sideways action with the major pairs. All right. I will see you in the next video. Thank you again for your support. Love you.